Cleveland 911. Do you need...
Please, help me. I'm Amanda Berry.
You need police, fire, or ambulance?
I need police. I've been kidnapped and I've been missing for 10 years.
Okay, and what's your address?
2207 Seymour Avenue.
Okay, talk to the police when they get there.
Okay. Hello?
Yeah, talk to the police when they get there.
Okay, I'm right now.
We're going to send them as soon as we get a car open.
No, I need them now before we get back.
I told you they're on the way. Talk to them when they get there, okay?
All right, okay.
Thank you.
This dispatcher completely disregarded protocol. He was not supposed to hang up on her, and it only got worse when the neighbor called.
Cleveland 911 police, ambulance or fire.
Yeah, hey, bro, I'm at 2207 Seymour, West 25th. This broad is trying to work out the house next door to me. She like, this been kidnapped me and my daughter, and we've been in this. She say her name is Linda Berry or some
Sir,
you know what I mean?
Sir, is she still in the street or where did she go?
Yeah, I'm looking at her. She right now. She calling y'all. She on another phone.
Can you ask her if she needs an ambulance?
She needs everything. She's in a panic, bro. I guess she's been kidnapped, so, put yourself in her shoes.
We'll send the police out.
Abducted, assaulted, and brutally abused for over a decade, Amanda Berry was chained to a wall in her neighbor's basement.
Not only would I never see my mother again, but I wouldn't see my sister, my family, or my friends for a decade.
She was forced to raise her daughter in captivity until the day she took it upon herself to save her friends and her family, finally putting an end to Ariel Castro's House of Horrors.
The source of hope for escape would come from the most unexpected place, 6-year-old Jocelyn.
In the city of Cleveland, Ohio, lively teenager Amanda Berry is wondering if she'll show up for work at her local Burger King.
I almost called off of work that day because the next day was my birthday. My mom had came to the door and she came to give me a kiss and just tell me have a good day. I got ready for work.
But unfortunately, her life ended up taking a completely different turn after she finished her shift.
What if I would have caught off that day?
On her way home, Amanda crossed paths with a friendly face, Ariel Castro, the neighborhood school bus driver and father of one of her good friends.
And he asked, do you need a ride home? I said yes. It's a friend's dad. And he's like, well, she's at my house. Would you like to go see her? I said, yeah, sure. I haven't seen her in a while.
Without any suspicion, Amanda agreed, as it's been a while since she had seen Ariel's daughter. She got into his car and followed him into his home once they arrived.
So he started showing me around the house, and I never got back out.
Inside, they headed towards the basement, and she noticed that an unknown woman was watching TV in one of the rooms, but didn't think much of it. Ariel went on to say that she was only renting the room and living there as a roommate. Further down the basement, Ariel claimed that his daughter was taking a bath. At this point, Amanda was probably starting to notice how weird the situation was, as all the windows were nailed shut and painted black.
When he took me to the next bedroom, it was just really dark in there, and he told me to hold on my pants. From there, I knew, this was not gonna be good.
Afterward, he chained her up to the wall by the stomach, tied her limbs together with duct tape, strapped a motorcycle helmet on her head, and turned up the radio at max volume to cover up her screams. And at the same moment, she noticed that Michelle Knight, the girl she saw in the other room, was also chained to the wall.
He just left me there. He shut the lights off, and I just started screaming and crying, and somebody, please help me.
The police were dumbfounded. To them, she truly disappeared without a trace.
Amanda Berry, when she first went missing, her mother, LaWanda Miller, was on the TV pleading for her return.
My daughter should not be kept off the news like that, but it's just so frustrating.
Soon after that, Castro called her mother with her phone.
What did you say to him?
I said, please let me talk to her. Let me hear her voice. Just let me know she's there. Let me know she's okay. Silence, and then he hung up on me.
Police started trying to track that phone, and that was one of the first cases of trying to track a phone like that.
The intelligence and the information we have indicated that Amanda's phone was used in about a 30-40 block area. We spent about a week around the clock hoping that this phone would be used again.
But Castro knew better. To avoid any suspicion, he took part in the civilian search party and even attended the public vigils that were organized by Amanda's family.
How much of a monster are you? You could go to that girl's parents and say, I've been looking day and night, I can't find her.
One weird detail at the time was the disregard from the police towards Castro's divorced wife, Grimilda. 3 years into the case, she attempted to get him arrested on various charges, She wasn't aware of the kidnapping, but went through a similar situation herself in the past.
He beat my sister, he stomped on her head, he kicked her in the stomach.
So before the girl, she was the one being chained up in the basement. And once they got divorced, he started to frequently abduct his own daughter from Grimilda's house. Every time one of these crimes were committed, she contacted the police, but Castro never got arrested.
My understanding from the records is that she suffered a broken nose twice. She had broken teeth and she otherwise was abused, but they were never followed through as a conviction.
The violence of his outburst towards her ultimately ended up killing her. She developed an inoperable brain tumor following all the head injuries she suffered from him. None of these claims were followed. Castro never had to pay for his crimes towards Grimilda. But Amanda, determined to record Castro's abuse, kept a secret diary filled with hidden codes. For example, X meant that she had been raped, sometimes up to 5 times a day.
I would always write these numbers at the top of the pages because I felt like, one day maybe authorities will get to read it and he'll be punished for what he did.
3 years into the case, the whole house was turned into a dungeon.
It was a veritable house of horror, from the basement all the way up to the 2nd floor. Amanda, Michelle, chained up.
I was so scared that I was gonna die. I didn't think that I was gonna ever make it home.
At this point, Castro kidnapped a 3rd girl, 14-year-old Gina DeJesus. He kept them starving and prevented them access to basic care.
It was all boarded up. The doors were nailed to the front windows.
The bolts holding the doors against the windows were sheared off, and this may look like a normal window from the outside, but every glass panel was actually replaced with high-grade plexiglass. And since Castro extended the dungeon to the whole house, each of the girls now had their own room with a TV.
The news comes out like 5:30 now, so day after day, I watched a lot of TV.
And after the kidnapping of Gina, the police finally made the connection between the cases. And there was even an episode of America Most Wanted dedicated to them.
Amanda Berry vanished on April 21st, 2003. 14-year-old Gina DeJesus left school. She never made it home.
In this episode, Luana was heavily featured, and this gave Amanda's hope.
And I said, you know what, I'm gonna make it home to you. As long as you fight, I'm gonna fight.
For 3 years, Luana Miller fought hard to find Amanda.
The holidays are coming and going, and my baby ain't home. Is she out there? Is she laying somewhere?
At that point, Amanda's favorite show was the Montel Show, especially the segment with the psychic Sylvia Brown.
I would watch her every time she was on Montel, and I'd say, I wish my mom would go on there. And then she could tell my mom that I was alive and that I'm okay.
The case started to catch a lot of attention from the media, and eventually, Luana was invited to meet Sylvia Brown and ask her about her daughter.
Don't think I'll ever see her again.
Yeah, in heaven, on the other side. I just hate that she's not alive, honey.
Luana was devastated, as was Amanda.
I just broke down crying because I couldn't believe she said that.
They both went into a long, depressive episode. She even took down the picture of Amanda she had hung around the city.
And she just gave up hope. And the huge tragedy is that she would die before Amanda.
One of the last things she did before she died was to try one last time to get the search for her daughter moving. Apparently, she just couldn't believe she was gone.
I think that was the hardest part. She was always fighting, and she was never going to give up on me. And for her to get sick, and I couldn't be there with her. I couldn't help her when she was sick.
And I think everyone knew that really she died of heartbreak.
In what could only be described as a twist of fate, Amanda became pregnant around the same time her mother passed away. Similarly to the J.C. Lee Dugard case we already covered, Amanda saw her coming child as a gift from her mother, and for the first time in years, she felt hopeful.
Castro used her and the others as sex slaves. As a result, Amanda became pregnant and gave birth to her daughter Jocelyn, the bright light that made the darkness bearable and gave her a reason to live.
Amanda named her Jocelyn, and Castro sent her down the basement with the girls.
This is his kid. How do I feel about that? And she resembled him a lot. And I would look at her, and I just felt like, she's mine. She's mine.
Even if the circumstances were dire, Amanda did the best she could to properly raise her.
I really didn't have the control to do what I wanted or to teach her what I wanted. And I kind of had to go through everything with him.
As her daughter grew up, Amanda eventually started to rearrange the room for it to look more like a classroom. She would ask her to use her imagination to visualize the street, the car, and the stop signs.
we would pretend walk to school. I try to make it as real as possible for her, you know. So we would lock the door and we would walk to school, cross streets, and I would tell her, you know, stop at green lights and look both ways when it's a red light. And we would finally get to school and I would sit her down and tell her, okay, I love you, have a good day. And then I would become her teacher.
This is Ariel's adult daughter reaction after she saw a picture of Jocelyn.
And he showed me a picture that was in his cell phone. And I said, she's cute, who is that? And he said, this is my girlfriend's child. And I said, Dad, that girl looks like Emily. Emily's my younger sister.
Maybe she thought it was suspicious, but couldn't have known to which extent her father went to get his hand on this child. And this is where Castro's own sensibilities came into play. Because as much of a monster as he was, he loved his daughter and didn't want her to live her whole life in captivity.
Ultimately, he never did anything, he never laid a hand on Jocelyn.
So he started to take her outside, first in the courtyard, then in parks. One day she even got to see the sunlight on her face through a crack in the window.
It was the most beautiful thing. I just felt like that's where she should always be.
Around the same time, Jocelyn started to be more and more dubious about the chains and shackles her mother was forced to wear.
So he started to call them bracelets, and she was about 2, almost 3 years old, and he finally took the chains off of me. And that was because of Jocelyn.
As Amanda and Jocelyn were living a life of their own inside the house, the clock kept ticking in the outside world. So after 10 years and the loss of Luana, the only person still looking for Amanda seems to be her sister Beth.
I'm hoping she's out there somewhere. I mean, I don't care, just come home.
They are still waiting and still hoping. FBI agents and police are searching for the remains of a missing teen, Amanda Berry. 7 years ago tonight. It was 8 years ago tonight.
It's been 9 years.
That Amanda Berry Gina DeJesus disappeared.
Today marks 10 years since Cleveland teenager Amanda Berry disappeared. She was 16 years old.
Those who knew Amanda Berry gathered to remember.
Gina's family has been gathering right here at this corner.
After a while, we thought these girls would never be found. They're dead. They're gone.
After 11 years in captivity, everything changed on the morning of May 6, 2013.
It's a warm spring day, and the source of hope for escape would come from the most unexpected place, 6-year-old Jocelyn.
Her daughter said something to her that changed both of their lives.
And she's like, Mom, Daddy's car is gone. My heart immediately started pounding. Should I chance it? If I'm gonna do it, I need to do it now.
This was her only chance, probably the only chance she would ever get, since it was the first time they forgot to lock her door.
Never before in 10 years has that happened. I'm like, okay, now I just gotta fly out this front screen door and I'm free. And that didn't happen.
As with everything else in the house, the screen door was locked from the outside. But by pushing as hard as she can, Amanda was able to create a small opening.
So I'm just like waving my arm and I'm like, somebody please, please help me. I'm Amanda Berry.
She started banging and pushing against it like her life depended on it. And Charles Ramsey, Castro's neighbor, happened to be outside on his porch.
Boom, 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 boom.
He ran to the door to see if he could help.
She said, get me out of this house.
He kind of like started like trying to pull on the door, but he couldn't get it open either. And so he like kind of kicks it.
Out comes Amanda. What do we do? Right, call the police.
Cleveland 911.
Oh, me, I'm Amanda Berry. I've been kidnapped. I've been missing for 10 years, and I'm here. I'm free now.
The police are on the way. Talk to when they get there. Okay?
I need...
She like, this been kidnapped me and my daughter, and we've been in this... She said her name is Linda Berry or some...
Can you ask her if she needs an ambulance?
She needs everything. She's in a panic, bro. I said she's been kidnapped.
I'm Amanda Berry. I've been on the news for the last 10 years.
Okay, I got that. And you said, what was his name again?
Ariel Castro.
And what's he wearing?
I don't know, because he's not here right now. That's why I got away.
Ariel Castro. Female says her name is Amanda Berry.
This might be for real.
I was terrified. And just because there's people on the street doesn't mean that he wouldn't hurt me.
Now, we both calling 911. She deal with a moron. Me too.
The woman was like, oh, hang up and wait for the police.
Hey, Amanda Berry is right in front of me right now. Wait a minute, I thought this girl was dead. Amanda Berry, that don't ring no damn bells, you being a cop and all?
She was thin, pale. And I told her, we've been looking for you for a long time.
The police on site couldn't believe they were still alive after all these years.
It was just like getting smacked in the face, like, holy cow, she's still alive.
Then she gives us, well, there's 2 more girls in the house.
We found them. We found them.
Once I saw that, I'm like, you know, this is it. I think we're free now.
After the rescue, Amanda pulled out a flyer and explained to the police that she held to it for years.
And then she said, I smell it sometimes because my mother was holding this flyer.
Breaks your heart. Sorry. After all this time.
Once her sister Beth arrived on site, Amanda was overwhelmed and she jumped in her arms.
She was just really skinny and short hair, but she was still beautiful.
After they were rescued, the police searched the whole house and found a confession penned by Castro himself. But to be sure that he would stay in jail, they needed more than that. And this is where Amanda's diaries came into play. She took note of every time he moved one of the girls around the house, as each of these movements counted as another kidnapping. Each and every time he raped her has also been marked down in the corner of the page. Because of the diaries, the police were able to charge him on 977 counts, including 446 counts of rape and 512 counts of kidnapping.
Not a master, I'm one person. I am just sick. I have an addiction. I simply kept them there without being able to leave.
You know, I couldn't believe that he would say that. I mean, do you think I would be there for 10 years if I had a chance to go home? No, that's why you had chains on me.
For 10 miserable years, they survived, but Ariel Castro lasted just 1 month and 1 day in prison before apparently taking his own life.
In his journal, he cited the consistent harassment and abuse he was suffering by other inmates as the main reason behind his decision. Even if 11 years of her life were stolen from her, Amanda found joy in the only good thing that came out of it, her daughter Jocelyn.
I just never want her to feel that she's not here for a special reason. She's here because she's special, and I just want her to know that.
Today, Amanda is saving lives by carrying on Luana's legacy.
I push every day more and more and continue my mom's work. She fought so hard for me while I was gone.
I'm working with a local news station for missing children, adults in our area. I'm Amanda Berry, and I've made it my personal mission to help police find missing people. I want to do something that means something to me. I'm just a regular person, and I want to make the world a better place.
Hello, Irv speaking.
Hello, Dad?
Yes, Betty. Are you okay?
The phone call you're about to hear is 8-year-old Beth Stauffer, who was kidnapped with her mother Mary. On June 15, 1980, at 10:14 p.m., the kidnapper allowed Beth to call her dad on Father's Day. The FBI recorded